Well, I'll be damned. That's what I call good timing. I take it you were successful? What about the fragments? Did you save them? Well, I guess that'll have to do. Thanks. What about Sev? Did you find him? Fuck. That little shit. I was hoping I could make him tell us who's behind all this. Well, whatever. No use crying over spilt milk, I guess. What's your name, anyway? Amidst all this, we didn't have time for formalities. You're pleased? Well, that's good to hear. I actually had the feeling that I was a little rough on you. Sorry for that, really. Sometimes I just have a short fuse. Anyway, let's talk about the reason you're here. For starters, tell me how you managed to get the old ranter to trust you. That doesn't happen very often. I've got time. So, you're saying that you learned all this, the magic, the swordplay, in such a short time? That's fascinating, to say the least. And these visions, if I understand correctly, you foresaw the death of the two apothecary? It does indeed. But hey, who am I to judge? Here you are, the mysterious stranger who appeared out of thin air and, without much fuss, took out an entire group of sellswords. And even better, now you tell me that these skills come from studying magic for only a couple of weeks, and that you can see the future. You certainly are full of shit. Not you, sorry. I mean, I just had a strange thought. But no, that would be crazy. Way too unlikely. Well, I'd like to speak freely, but I'm bound to my agreement with the Holy Order. However, I will tell Constantine and old Oranthiel about my theory. And you will probably have to be patient until the latter decides to put you in the picture. Sorry. But if my idea is correct, then we'll be in a position to really kick ass. Anyway, hold still for a moment. Ready? All right, let's do this. Don't worry, it'll just tickle a bit. Fuck! Are you all right? That wasn't on purpose. Really. Oh my, you really do look terrible. I will make this right, I promise. I have no idea what just happened. The ritual isn't exactly harmless, but normally you shouldn't feel more than a weak tickle at most, regardless of how it goes down. But, maybe this has something to do with the strangeness of your aura. I already said this, but it's so different. It's hard to explain. Somehow complex and cold, maybe. But hey, I'm probably just out of practice. It worked, and that's what matters. Your fever will now settle down to an endurable level, and maybe even vanish if you're careful. And now I suggest you return to Constantine. I will get the stones to safety in the meantime. You need anything else? If not, see you later. We're going to meet again. I can feel it. Well, put simply, they're supposed to protect us. But old Oranthiel will tell you more about it later. Take care.
Huh?
What? Yes. Yes, that just might work. There, this just doesn't make any sense. Why can't it ever be easy?
Now, if it isn't the prodigy, well... Yes, I know. She's already told me everything. Good work, even though part of her report seemed to be a bit enthusiastic. But I'll leave the judgment to Aranthiel. He wants to talk to you anyway. Seems you've caught his interest. Didn't I tell you that already? He's the highly esteemed, holy Grand Master of the Order. Tilor Aranthiel, son of Lorius I, praised be his name. An old legend, risen from the dead, or something like that.
Thou art my light, my glimmer at the horizon.
Oh yes? Well then listen carefully. Lucy probably hasn't told you, but the ritual was as dangerous for her as it was for you. In other words, she and all of us have risked a lot for your healing. Also, she seems to see something special in you. Heck knows why, but she does. So at least have the decency to listen to what Aranthiel wants to tell you. He is in the Emporium of the Temple. Just tell the guard who you are, and they will let you in. Ah yes, before I forget. My dame Lucy has left a token of gratitude for you. It's your choice. Do you want a book, an old map, or a bag of pennies? Very well. Now get a move on. I'm sure we'll talk again later.
Brother, did you get my letter? Yes, I did. Magistrar Yela approved your request. We will take care of it as soon as possible. Your sister will be fine. I'm certain of it.
Good. That's good. Thank you. And may his light guide you.
And you.
This is holy ground,
This is
Outlander.
holy ground,
You
Outlander.
don't belong here.
You do not belong here.
Well met. Need something?
Walk blessed.
It is a suspicion, Tina. And to send an entire division across the sea because of a suspicion is madness.
We need to find out who sent the mercenaries. This Pegast said that they were after the Signet Stone, and if they succeed in getting hold of it next time, then the Black Guardian alone knows how to stop the cycle.
The cycle. Listening to you talk almost makes me forget that all this fuss here is merely based on some bad dreams you and your Neremese friends had.
The threat is real. Deny it as much as you like, but deep inside, you've it as much as I do.
Tila, you're a commander, and a commander doesn't care about feelings, but about facts. You have made this mistake before, Tilor, back then in Kira.
Natara,
We all know
the mission will happen. I'm sorry.
you have a visitor.
So, you are the prodigy everyone is talking about. Interesting. I am Teilor Aranthia, son of Lorius I and Grand Master of the Order, and I'm honored to meet you. What is your name? Yes, and I will come straight to the point. You are here because I believe that you are special. Humanity faces a threat that needs to be stopped, and to achieve this, you are indispensable. Among other things, yes. I do not need to explain to you that the present situation on Vin is chaotic. The wars, the living dead, common people who are losing their minds, to name only the most obvious. What most people are not aware of is the connection between these events. You, however, have encountered it, as have I. I do, and I will explain everything to you. What it means, who we are, and what your part in all of this is. Come, follow me. Maybe you already know who I am. My entire life, I served the gods who ruled Vin, until their death 2 years ago. What you probably do not know is that the one
Walk
responsible for their death is my son, Narazul Aranthia. He hated the Lightborn because he believed that they robbed mankind of their right to freedom, so he strived to overthrow them. He found followers, formed an army and declared war on them, and thus on me, a servant of the Lightborn as well. It all ended in a battle 30 years ago, which Narazul won. He killed every single survivor except for me, and locked me in a dungeon on Nerim. I still do not know why he spared me. There were circumstances favoring the development, but it's a long story which we won't discuss now. Good question. Because at the moment stability is the highest good, even more so considering what we are facing. The rulers of Kira and Kile both made the mistake to acknowledge the death of the gods to their people, and the civil wars that followed in their countries are evidence of the chaos that such a revelation entails. Enderal is the cradle of the Order of the Gods, the epitome of theocracy. It is unthinkable what would happen if we confirmed these rumors. I am sure you understand this. Maybe when all this is over that will change, but for now it is imperative that we deny all rumors of that kind. Yes, after more than 30 years, when the death of the gods made the magic around the prison disappear. And during my escape in the northern mountains of Nerim, I also had them for the first time, the dreams. I always saw the same glaring, terrible light, heard screaming, and I felt like I was burning up from the inside. And above all, like a veil, there was the knowledge of ignorance. At first, of course, I dismissed these dreams as the delusion of a man close to death. So I concentrated on making it through the mountains somehow. 2 days after my escape, I was completely exhausted, and I would have died if a former acolyte of my son had not found me. Yes, but he did not recognize me, and brought me to their headquarters instead, an old monastery in the mountains. The others were aware of my identity, but for whatever reason they did not kill me. Maybe because they thought that the death of the Lightborn had made me insignificant. I do not know. Still, even after my recovery, the dreams continued. At first, I doubted my sanity, but after some time I told the leader of the mages, Constantine, about them. He said something that I'd never expected. I was not alone. He, as well as many others magically gifted on Vin, dreamed the same dreams. And the more we talked about the matter, the stronger our suspicion grew. which has now turned out to be the truth. Dreams, they come from the same place. They are a shared memory. A collective subconscious. Yes, I know that you can feel it too, and probably far more intense than we do. But like you back then, we were not able to make sense of the images. So we went looking for answers in the remains of the civilization that was before us, the Pyreans. 3 things. First, there were many civilizations before us and before Pyreans. Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. Second, the history of each civilization unfolded and still unfolds according to a pattern. They emerge, they blossom, and at some point, at the apex of their existence, they simply disappear without any trace. And third, everything that has happened in the past years, and which is still happening, indicates that this disappearance lies ahead of us. We are part of an eternal loop, a cycle, and our cycle is approaching its end. Yes, dramatically put, they're the envoys of the end. Not identical, but one can split them up into episodes which repeat themselves in the very same manner, into patterns. I see why you would say that, and I've felt the same way for a very long time too. But there came a moment when we simply could not deny it anymore. We began to study the history of the Pyreans more intensely, and the parallels were extraordinary. In its early days, the Pyrean Empire was split up by a disaster, just like Vin was split up by the Starfall after the reign of the Eterna. Also, the Pyreans had a ruling caste who declared themselves gods after the catastrophe. The 2 castes of the Sun Priest. They too ruled until they were overthrown. This overthrowing was followed by an outbreak of wars and chaos. And then, just like that, the Pyreans ceased to exist. They knew it was imminent, but they could not prevent it. They called this event the Cleansing. They tried, but they failed. Who knows why? Maybe they found out too late, or maybe they were too weak. That is the question we need to find an answer to. The end was not violent, at least not in a sense as we know it. There was no natural disaster, no magical explosion, no plague. Even though there was war in the Pyrean Empire before its ruin, when the cleansing happened, it was as if all living beings simply fell down and died. It is ghastly. Well, this is the reason why we need your help. Not only episodes of history recur within every cycle, characters do as well. Yes, the Pyreans call them the emissaries. They emerge very shortly before the cleansing occurs, like a law of nature, an answer to the Red Madness. And I am one of them, as are you. While I take on the role of the ruler, you take on the role of the prophetess. It's just a description. Call it what you will. But without doubt, it is the truth. Your story matches the descriptions perfectly. No, as I already said, the emissaries simply appear at the beginning of the end, like pieces on a chessboard. We are determined by our skills, how and to what end we use them, is our choice. Yes, former enemies or not, both sides have understood the magnitude of the threat. The magical knowledge of Narazul's former mages is vast, as is the power of the Holy Order. Even though not all of the Keepers agree, as you probably have already noted yourself. I do not know. Firespark the Mage has told me your story, and even though your fate is tragic, unlike me, you were insignificant before your change. So maybe everyone can become an emissary, or we simply have not understood the pattern yet. On the one hand, your power. You carry the potential to master any skill within a fraction of the usual time needed. I assume you have already realized this. On the other hand, your ability to look into the past, and therefore into the future. Your visions are a window into the past, and as every cycle is based on the same events, it is a window into the future as well. You can feel the thread this world is woven with, and because of that, you can see things that have happened, and thus will happen again. This gift makes you indispensable to us, and it is why I want your help. That is the wrong question. The correct question is, what alternative do we have? To wait and die? Hollow words. Deep inside, you know your responsibility. Trust me, we are more alike than you believe. If it is wealth and power you seek, you will have it. The Order has enough of both. Good. However, there's one more thing before the actual work begins. I want you to join our Order, and to do so, you have to pass a test. A trial. It is. Whatever you think about our story, we are the only faction that is strong enough to oppose the cycle. If you want to be part of our mission, you need to have access to our knowledge and resources. There will be voices in the Order speaking against your admission, as they are speaking against the presence of the Naramese mages. Consider it an honor or a necessity. It is up to you. It is the trial the novices have to pass in order to be exalted to the role of a keeper. Only the best students of the Squalor are allowed admission, and even though you have not been a novice, I want you to take it too. At this very moment, 2 novices are on their way to the testing grounds. I have informed them about your arrival. I have only a slight acquaintance with them. However, I know that they are both very talented and have been working hard toward the test. But see them for yourself. At the border to the Heartland, near the Whisper Wood, they will be waiting for you there. Take the Myret, talk to Signet Master Bartar, and hand him this package. And then follow his orders. Ah, one more thing. It might be self-evident, but keep your knowledge about the death of the Lightborn to yourself. I do not believe you can do any real harm, but in the worst case, path-abiding people will consider you a heretic. After the cycle has been stopped, we will deliberate upon how we deal with the matter, if and how we tell our people about it. But not now, that is for sure. No, leave. The sooner we can dispense with this formality, the better. Walk blessed, prophetess. Yes. Good question. In their writing, the Pyreans say it has existed for aeons. Since this world exists, since the Sea of Eventualities exists, so too then does the cycle. It seems to be a part of existence, so to speak. The Pyreans didn't, and neither did the dozen civilizations that came before them. That is what we know. But as for what happened before that, our knowledge about the past is limited. All that matters for now is that the cycle threatens us, and that we have to stop it. That depends on whom you ask. In some writings of the Pyreans, we are referred to as chosen ones, but this is wrong. A better word would be chess figures with their own will. Whatever force causes the cycle also gave us powers and a task. But fulfilling that task is our own responsibility. Well, that is something else we only know in broad strokes. It is my task to lead mankind in its battle against the cleansing, to rally our strengths, so to speak. Yours is to read the Echo and help us gain the knowledge we need for victory. How exactly you're going to do that is something we still have to find out. As I said before, my knowledge about that is limited. But if it helps you, imagine that it is a way of perceiving that which connects us all, our subconscious. Yes. You know, most people perceive themselves as an entity separate from the rest of the world. And while this is partially true, there is something that connects us. Dark corners of our mind. Bridges to which we in a conscious state do not have access to. But you do not need to be supernaturally gifted to feel that these bridges exist. I am sure you have experienced it yourself at one time or another. A moment where you knew exactly what another person thought or would do next. People with close blood ties can especially feel that connection. Children and their mothers, siblings, and especially twins. Correct. And while most people hardly feel this connection at all, as if looking through a tinted window, to you, it is wide open during your visions. Their bodies might be, but the traces they left behind still remain. Everything that was, everything that is, and everything that will be, it already exists in the sea of eventualities. This is the basic principle of magic. And time is not a straight line. Only the barriers of our mind make us perceive it as such. Visions, premonitions, dreams that become reality. These are all leftovers of waves from other eventualities that spill over into our reality. There have always been people able to read them, but none so good at it as you are, thanks to the Echo.